The Maritime Museum of BC has been looking for a new home ever since we left Bastion Square a number of years ago. And the steamship building has always been a tantalizing opportunity across the harbour from us here. And that's always been our goal. The other thing that happened, though, is we started to reconsider exactly what we are as a museum. And looking at our collection, we tell a purely colonial story. What was totally missing was anything to do with the Lekwungen peoples and the coastal First Nations. So when we were reinventing the museum, we came up with the idea that we would actually invite the nations to occupy a floating structure which we would fund and assist in establishing. And the idea being that the Lekwungen can tell their story in the floating structure. We'd tell what we call our story in the steamship building. And we hope ultimately that they will be the hosts for telling the whole story of the coast as seen through the eyes of the families and nations that have lived here on this coast since time immemorial. So the steamship building is 21,000 square feet on 4 floors. Most of the building's been vacant for the past 10 years. Currently, only 1 floor is occupied. So ultimately, the goal would be for all 4 floors to be dedicated to the Maritime Museum. The lower level would be a transition zone, if I could call it that, between the sort of colonial story and the transition zone would be down onto the water. And the floating structures where the undersea gardens used to be, and that would be the home of the Lekwungen Welcome Center and Cultural Facility. So it's a big job to take this on. It's a big plan. We have a fundraising team we've put together led by Murray Farmer and a number of philanthropists. We're going to raise 1/3 of the almost $40 million that's required through philanthropy. Another third will come from sponsorships, mainly corporations and foundations. And then the balance, we're Canadian, we're going to ask for some money from the federal government, probably about 1/3. But the next steps, the most immediate steps, is we need a confirmation from the provincial government that the steamship building site could be made available for this purpose. The only way reconciliation can happen is by understanding some kind of shared and respectful version of history. And we really see this as an opportunity for that to happen. And the visitor experience in this case will actually be witnessing the act or the work of reconciliation.